welcome to the live. We are live, darling. Right, let's get started. Y'all, welcome in. I am Goddess High Priestess Empress Alba La Panthera. We currently still have the moon in Sagittarius. It's a very particular mix of release, reckoning, courage, and reorientation with the cosmos right now. And we are in the third quarter moon phase of Sagittarius, which is the phase of evaluation and adjustment. So something that began around the new moon has now reached a point where it must be edited, clarified, or cut back so the next cycle can be cleaner. Because third quarter moons are not just about passive dreaming. They're about realizing what no longer fits the truth you now carry. With the moon in Sagittarius at 27 degrees, which is a Gemini degree, Sagittarius is a sign that is connected to transparency, meaning, and forward motion. Let me mute this on this side because I feel as though I'm hearing myself speak as I am. Okay, here we go. Perfect. So now with the moon in Sagittarius at the late degree, this is more so connected to a season type of fire where it has seen enough to know that not every belief deserves to keep living in the mind. And the emotional tone right now is asking you all collective to release false narratives, inflated expectations, moral posturing, or any story that keeps you emotionally distant from what is actually happening. Let's see here, the psychological metaphor, Sabian symbol of where the moon in Sagittarius currently is 27, so that's Sagittarius 28. It speaks to an old bridge over a beautiful stream is still in constant use. So this is a powerful image for this moment because psychologically, it's suggesting that some old wisdom, some old pathway or truth still works, but not every old must be discarded. Not everything old must be discarded. So the question is whether the structure still carries living energy or whether it has become something that's, not connected to where you're going moving forward, and it's more so of a past tradition. So emotionally, the collective right now, you're being shown what can still support the crossing and what can no longer bear the weight. Now, let's see what else we got going on. We got the sun in Pisces right now, 21 degrees. Mercury retrograde in Pisces at 12. The mind is becoming flooded with memory, symbolism, unfinished conversations, intuitive downloads, the return of material that was not fully understood the first time. With Mars in Pisces also, Mars is actionable and instinct, but in Pisces the action becomes diffused, spiritualized, emotionally informed, sometimes passive, sometimes strangely precise when intuition takes over, especially in the sign of Pisces. So with Mars in Pisces right now, for the collective, this can feel as though you might feel a bit exhausted by force-based effort, and it's all because you're being redirected towards a more subtle way of taking action based off of your imagination with Pisces energy. The problem is that Pisces Mars can either act from soul guidance or drift into avoidance. So with the moon in Sagittarius, it's important to utilize that energy where you're pressing more so for transparency, while the sky is exposing where people say they are waiting for divine timing when they are actually postponing necessary movement. So it is a very real with the tension right now. Is it divine timing or are you procrastinating is the question. Okay, so procrastinating or postponing, one of the two. Let's take a further look and see. We got Jupiter that has gone direct finally since November the 11th. Yeah. Now that it's direct, you'll start to see some movement. Right now, all in all, the moon is saying release the false story. The sun right now is saying to listen to the deeper revelation. Mercury retrograde is still having you review what was missed. Jupiter direct says grow from what genuinely nourishes you. And Aries is beginning again, but this time with transparency. While we do have Venus in Aries as well. Ooh, Friday the 13th. It'll be Friday the 13th about 4 times this year, if I'm not mistaken. Big divine feminine energy. Okay. Let's see what the vibe is for y'all right now. If you're looking to book a personal, that information that you see on the screen is how you can go about that. It's also posted in the community tab post. I look forward to working with y'all. Let's get into it. Is this light on? Perfect. Show me the current energy. Ooh. We got make plans and focus. The stack that came out, make plans and focus. Hold your vision. Take care of your necessities. Enjoy success and happiness. You're very close to achieving your goal. Communication is key. We'll see what's up though. Trust your talents in changing times. Personal issue reaches resolution. Two more. It's reminding me right now of the Knight card Be brave and honest, be brave and transparent. And y'all been getting that message even before the moon went into Sagittarius. Show me the energy here. This stay coming out too. Follow the voice of your soul, see from a higher perspective. Feel as though this lighting thing business here makes it blurry. So, we gonna rock with you, beloved. All right. Let's see what you're being guided to follow the voice of your soul on here. But it also requires you to see from a higher perspective. It's already given the vibes of having to accept the truth before even seeing something from a higher perspective. Stay rooted and grounded. Damn. You're not stuck. However, I did feel that before I even put the cards down. And this is exactly what I was sensing. And as I dropped it, that's what it says. Emotions are running high. But I didn't say it. But I did feel that. Okay. So. Let's go here first. Something about saying something that's true in a way that scorches the ground around it. Yes, big Sagittarius energy right there. Ooh, wildfire activity, huh? Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. It's the throat chakra. Finding creative ways to not say something that scorches the ground, that tears shit up around you, but still saying what you have to say. Let's see. Don't wait till the moon get in Pisces where you start losing your shit now. At least now the energy is quite precise when it comes to being that it's in Sagittarius. There's sort of a target or a point of focus as to where the energy is being directed, or the focal point. Yeah, point of focus. But when the moon goes into Pisces, it's the vibe of feeling everything around you. So you have to be very conscientious when it comes to what's yours and what isn't. Which is, let me see, 12. It's about 12 days from now. Not even 12. I'm tripping. Maybe 2.5. 6, 7 days from now. Right around the new moon, actually. We got Gemini, follow the voice of your soul. Gemini energy comes through here. This, which has to do with communication. The answer to something has already arrived because I'm seeing the Moonology card for Gemini that says the answers you need are coming, which is the full moon card. So something is very significant in regards to Sagittarius season with the full moon in Gemini that occurs in Sagittarius season. The answers that you've been looking for have actually shown up. Now follow the voice of your soul. Tell me more about this. Taurus, regarding value, finances, worth. This is similar to the message I just posted in regards to you may have felt stalled in a certain area of life, but again, that also connects to Jupiter being retrograde, and now things are going to move forward. You now have all the pieces, the missing pieces, while still obtaining some more, actually. The moon card, something is being revealed to you that was hidden Something at the depths of your subconscious now coming to the surface to actually assist you with following the voice of your soul, which also connected to you seeing from a higher perspective. Seeing from a higher perspective means that you are actually following the voice of your soul. Okay? Welcome in. And then we have Uranus. Wow. Again, with this idea in regards to technology and communication that may not make sense to others, but it's connected to your worth. It's connected to what's actually going to increase your finances. Follow the voice of your soul. See from a higher perspective. Let's see here. Aquarius. Yeah, this is futuristic ways of thinking and going about situations. Aquarius is future knowing. Pluto is in Aquarius. Wow. Okay. What you're creating, what you have going on is very significant to this generation, the next 18 to 20 years. So whatever was taking you out of your focus when it comes to this is also where Mercury retrograde is helping you out with it. Seeing what's to be dissolved and seeing what it is that you are to move forward with. Tell me more. Saturn. Well, you should already have the emotional maturity because Saturn in Aquarius has already occurred. 4 years ago, just about. Turn this down. Something about the 15th, 16th could be significant. I just said 4 years, but that's 4 days from now. Don't deceive yourself on what you have learned in regards to seeing something from a higher perspective. You have to rise above the bullshit, basically. Chiron. And then Scorpio. And then the moon in Scorpio. Okay. Interesting. Awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. There's a way being made here for you. There's certainly a way being made here for you. You may have been someone that's been receiving a lot of no's in order to align you with the proper yes. Welcome in. It's a lot of moving pieces here. Get more information, okay? The answers you need are coming. That keeps coming up. But the answers have arrived. The answers you've been looking for. Getting more information. You've been doing this in the past, getting more information. You've been getting more information. Let me see. Also pulled up some information here regarding your past life. Let me look at this. Something in regards to severe restriction of freedom, whether this through literal captivity, forced labor, rigid caste systems, or circumstances where personal agency was overridden by an external control, where survival depended on endurance, adaptation, and internal resilience rather than the ability to change one situation. Choices were limited, movement was monitored, and identity was often defined by what could not be done rather than what could. And over time, this created a strong psychological association between structure and confinement, authority and danger, obligation and loss of self. So, in its current life, this imprint can manifest as heightened sensitivity to control, even in situations that are objectively safe or voluntary. You may feel uneasy with long term commitments, react strongly to perceived limitations, or resist authority because it triggers an internal memory of powerlessness. Why am I picking up somebody here with Mars and Aries in the 12th house precisely so? The lesson here in regards to getting more information to assist you with moving forward in that insight is distinguishing past constraint from present structure. And God told you that you are God, ye are gods. You should know that. You need to go back to theology class. Now, you may feel, let's see here. Not all boundaries, though, are oppressive, and not all commitments remove freedom. So growth now involves, learning to choose structure consciously and entering agreements and roles or responsibilities because they support development rather than because they are imposed. Okay. Coming up in here talking about external God without recognizing that you are an extension of that. The blasphemy, and then the nerve for you to be a pastor. That's disgusting. And we got baby here with the past life energy. It may have been lifetimes marked by interrupted beginnings, experiences involving the loss of a child or early transition, separation from caregivers, or circumstances in which nurturing bonds were formed and then abruptly broken. And these type of events obviously could leave an emotional imprint connected to vulnerability, attachment, and the uncertainty of growth. So in those lives, the natural process of development was cut short, perhaps, with this baby card as a past life card showing up. And it may have created associations between love and fragility, investment and potential loss. Protection often became the primary response because continuation could not be assumed. So in the present life, this pattern may surface as heightened sensitivity to new beginnings, starting new relationships, projects, or phases may carry an undercurrent of caution or anxiety. What's interesting is that when picking up these astrology cards, the chakra card for the throat chakra came out that had to do with creativity. So we'll keep that in mind. Exactly. That thinking limits God and yourself. We are one. Let them know. Let them know, Cheryl. Exactly. Mm-hmm. They constantly disregard what it actually says in the text. My people perish for the lack of knowledge. And it told them to walk into the house of the water bearer. That's the house of Aquarius. That's the house of the stars, astronomy, things of that nature. But they moving worse than these files that are being exposed. These false ass pastors. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Half of these pastors can't tell their mouth from their ass crack. You over here, you really in the space of a true warrior of source. Don't come over here with that shit. We'll get your ass handed to. Now, respectfully, you know what I'm saying? Because that's another thing where they go into spaces. Obviously, their spirit and soul is guiding them into spaces for them to awaken. You know what I'm saying? And because of their ignorance and leaning on their own understanding, they don't recognize when it's time to shift or what the actual truth of that text is. The lesson attached to this card, though, with the baby is learning to allow development without assuming interruption, because growth now requires trust and continuity rather than vigilance against loss. So not every connection is temporary. Not every beginning carries the same risk as before. By gradually allowing experiences to unfold without preemptive defense, it allows you to build new associations between care and endurance rather than care and fragility. Okay. So there could be, not that there could be, what's happening here is that some of you may be in a position where you're constantly retrieving information and not applying it. Apply one thing at a time, but it's time to put those lessons in motion. Those lessons in motion. Utilizing each tool appropriately by just utilizing it. Let's see. Look at that. At the bottom of the deck, you have is up to you. Yeah, nothing is a coincidence. Nothing is random. Nothing is a coincidence. Let's see here. The situation will improve. Choose a new direction. Okay. Let me look a little bit deeper into that. All right, darling. The situation will improve. Choose a new direction. Let go of the need to be right. Peacekeeper. Yeah, that has to do with aligning with universal law of cause and effect, removing right or wrong, good or bad. Those are all subjective. Learn from spiritual experiences actually shows you that. But one would have to be aware enough to notice the signs in the most subtle of ways. What we have here. Balance spirituality and practicality. Ashe. Be the light. Seeing the path clearly even when everything around you appears to be dark. But the darkness is where you have the space where you are able to go through growth for this light to actually be something useful to you. What do you have here? Be open to healing information. One more. One more. Be open to healing information and trust and thrive with that information. So, let's get deeper because it has a lot of get information, be open to information. So, let me give you the information. At this point, follow the voice of your soul, see from a higher perspective. Okay? Here it is. See from a higher perspective. This has to do with transformation, the eagle and Scorpio energy. Transformation through inner growth. Change that starts deep within you, touching up on sensitive psychological areas. Get more information. We got the King of Wands, has to do with your self-expression, but also recognizing your creative force, your creative powers. Creativity keeps popping up. Channeling your creative force into organized direction, where the fire becomes vision, strategy, and the ability to inspire large-scale actions. This has to do with entrepreneurship. It keeps coming up quite a bit also. Entrepreneurs launching companies, directors leading creative projects, leaders initiating social movements often embody this type of energy when it shows up. So it's a spirit of leadership that's coming online here, where you're being asked to see things from a higher perspective. Tell me more about this. The Five of Cups, see things from a higher perspective. Now you got Mars and Scorpio shining up. Okay. It's some type of grief and disappointment. The fact that this is showing up. And you have to rise from that because it's preventing you from channeling that creative force that comes from the solar plexus. But if you're heavy in the chest area and the heart area, it can prevent you from expressing that truth, releasing that truth, especially for some of you, this has to do with your voice. Because creativity did come up and it's connected to the throat chakra. You have a powerful voice, but if it's being restricted by grief and disappointment, you can shut yourself out. There could have been a recent period of separation, a possible plan that didn't follow through. Let's see. But then you have the Ace of Wands here. This is actually what's going to help you to move forward. It's feeling as though you were required to go one route, but the route that you least expected is actually what's best for you. Let's take a further look. Yeah, transformation. Something changed. The Tower card is not here, but something certainly changed abruptly. It was an inevitable end, though. It's leading you to victory and success. Five of Pentacles. You were left out of a situation, but that was your protection. You're actually someone who carries a higher level of wisdom. You're going through the lessons of the Hierophant, High Priest energy, so that way you can connect your intentions, your deepest intentions to your creations, the Queen of Swords, which has to do with you actually being clear and concise with your communication as well, and seeing things very clearly. Show me. The Ace of Cups. Emotional renewal. Yeah, it's going to be extremely necessary in order for you to channel that creative force too. Emotional renewal, love of self. You may have placed yourself in this internal battle because of, situations you may have been in that people were pushing you away or something of that nature, but they couldn't go with you. What you're realizing is as to why they're not, able to move on with you here. Let's see. There goes the Tower. That's what it is then. Okay. So, and then you have the Queen of Wands. You were dimming your light. It said be the light, but you were dimming the light. There's a lot of people in this, though. You got Aries twice, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces in here. Eight of Pentacles, Ace of Swords. Yeah. These past situations actually was going to help you to make proper investments moving forward. You've gained a lot of clarity, mental clarity, and despite the adversity, it's going to bring forth new relationships due to emotional renewal. Moving right along with the energies here. It's definitely the lessons of the fives. The Hierophant. Being placed in a position to be a transmitter of collective knowledge. Because the Emperor showing up, it speaks to you, the essence of governing structure in the material world, while the Hierophant governs structure and belief, tradition, and meaning. So you're doing something unconventional that's basically not in alignment to previous traditions or ways of doing things. Because the Hierophant represents the collective mind, inheriting frameworks for understanding the world, whether if it has to do religion, philosophy, ethics, science, law, where these systems provide orientation, help individuals to locate themselves within a larger context, the way it was intended to. Not in the Age of Pisces ways. Age of Pisces having to do with the energy of sorrow, which placed many within this savior complex type of frequency. The two fishes represent power and sorrow. But the collective was more so taught the frequency of sorrow rather than understanding their power, therefore being an extension of all that is. And there goes the message that one, speaking too soon, missed out on. Show me the collective and their energy here. Happy. I love to see it. Look how Swords coming through. Because 26, when you look at 26, it relates to the word God itself. And as I'm pulling this card right now, the way the sun is beaming on my forehead as I'm pulling these cards, can't make this up. Have whatever belief you decide to have. However, it's important to incorporate all that is feminine and masculine. This whole talk with Father God, now you're only just speaking to the pineal gland. What's seated at the right of it? The mother is, the pituitary, the divine feminine. Those ways of patriarchy are done and over with. And that's the macro to the micro, where each one within the collective is going through the experience of dissolving of that frequency of the imbalance. Tell me more about this. Six of Pentacles, material and spiritual prosperity. With patience. Hold on, y'all. All right. 266. Happy with the Six of Pentacles. Now, the Six of Pentacles, once again, it speaks to restoration of balance through generosity and the essence of fairness, or just balance. It does speak to the dynamics of power and giving and receiving. Why am I having the chills right now? This could also be in regards to utilizing the information that some of you have been piling up on to seek assistance. You seeking assistance is not weakness, okay? It's not. Don't allow your pride to get in the way, preventing you from excelling. And the chosen is just simply someone who chooses to go through the pressure, emotional depth, responsibility, ability to respond, observation, and exposure to things that force the psyche to mature faster, to evolve faster. Anyone that makes a choice is a chosen. It's not a 144,000 as many people perceive that to be. 144,000 is more so the connections of the centers within you. Lower chakras and the higher chakras, not in the form of hierarchy either, but each role having its purpose. situation here with the Six of Pentacles, there could be an upliftment within communities when there is a, you know, an equal give and take of respect of each one's abilities, each one's ways. The issue with that is that some people get into certain spaces or certain communities where you expect that level of interdependence in regards to each one being themselves. But then at some point, you can tell who has fully evolved and healed because it won't trigger the energy of jealousy or envy amongst that community. Because somebody decides to place themselves in an energy of comparison. Comparison is going to take your joy away every time. So making sure that you're not, in situations where emotions are running high and people are not fully aware of themselves, that's causing the lack of, equilibrium amongst people, amongst situations, things of that nature. Yeah, I can see the sun right there. Another 6. Wow. I love to see it. 2666. Let me look at this number here. 6 is Venetian, huh? Venusian energy. Let me see. 2666. Let's go into the lexicon. Wait, hold on. Is Venus actually at 6 degrees right now? Because that would be kind of... It sure is. Venus is literally in Aries at 6 degrees. So Venus, what you got to say right now, honey? 6 is Virgo energy. It's a Virgo degree. But let me see what 2666 is saying. Why is it 96? To be free. To be free. Of what exactly? Let me get some more numbers. Let's dive into these numbers. Of what exactly? What hour are we in? We in the Mars hour. And it's in, what? To be free of the heart from grief, disappointment. Okay. By releasing attachment. This has to do with the crown. By releasing attachment. So if we're looking at the crown, hold on. Because initially, first and foremost, what blocks the crown is attachment, but also feeling disconnected from meaning in what you do. Because the crown chakra connects to purpose, coherence, big picture orientation. This could also be where what blocks the crown chakra is chasing purpose instead of building it. Because anything you chase is running from you. It could also have to do with spiritual bypassing. Ideas without embodiment, basically. Cynicism, nihilism, the energy of none of this matters, which is another example too of spiritually bypassing. Mental exhaustion from over abstract thinking, lack of follow through because things feel pointless. The core pattern when the crown chakra is blocked is when one cannot connect action to meaning because of some sort of grief and disappointment. The 2666 Venus energy. Let me look at what possibly could even create this besides that. Venus conjunct Saturn, and therefore Neptune, and a sextile to Pluto. And it's in a trine to Lilith. Let me see something here. Let me get... let me open up this chart. The truth about your desire is being illuminated. And it could also bring up, that could be what's bringing up the grief and emotions running high. Where you're recognizing, is okay, I'm seeing somebody go, oh shit, that's what it's been the whole time. Something to that effect. Hold on. But you're doing this from this space where you're able and ready to release. You're not really attached and holding on to it. You're closing out that cycle of what it was you were holding on to. So you may have or had to step away, consciously step away, withdraw to gain clarity, not avoid confrontation or avoid certain dynamics or people, because that's not the proper way of moving through hermit energy. Because Venus, the thing about Venus is not only about romance. It has everything to do with attraction, worth, pleasure, money, connection, beauty, and what your heart knows it deserves. So wherever your Venus sits, the question becomes, what do you value enough to keep in your life based on your Venus placement? And right now, Venus is having 4 different conversations at once. The first one is, again, Venus conjunct Saturn. So this is the moment where love meets reality, because Saturn is structure. And again, they're both in the sign of Aries. Saturn is structure, time, consequence, boundaries, and maturity. So when Saturn sits next to Venus, the heart gets serious. The atmosphere becomes quieter in a sense and more sober. It's the part of the story where illusions fall and you begin to ask these uncomfortable questions in regards to, is this relationship stable? Is this commitment real? Is this value system sustainable? Because one thing about Saturn is it doesn't care about romanticizing the way you express something. It's more so about what holds up over time. And under this type of influence, Venus conjunct Saturn, relationships either deepen through responsibility or reveal cracks that were hidden behind emotional habit. And what's coming to the surface is the emotional habit. When I said, some of you are realizing, oh shit, that's what it's been this whole time, which was connecting you into certain dynamics or lessons. Karmic lessons is lessons, lessons, where these relationship dynamics are pretty much exposing to you versions of you that you may have hidden and lurking within your psyche, within your subconscious mind. So this can cause people to feel distant, not because love has disappeared, but because Saturn removes superficial comfort and it asks for emotional maturity. So again, follow the voice of your soul. See things from a higher perspective. That higher perspective is that the Saturnian questions, the questions that come from emotional maturity, not the version of you that you've built around the wounded version of you. Now, the conversation Venus is having with Neptune, this is where now the story gets strange and beautiful at the same time, because Neptune is the imagination, and Neptune dissolves the edges, which also Neptune represents longing, compassion, spiritual love, dreams, fantasy, projection too, and sometimes confusion. So when Venus meets Neptune, the heart remembers its ideal, where people can feel this heightened sense of love, become more empathetic, artistic, and be more open to experiences that transcend ordinary logic. So now Venus standing in between Saturn and Neptune, reality is basically on one side and your dream is on the other. Okay. This is actually the tension that many people are feeling right now, where part of your heart desires devotion, transcendence, and emotional magic, while another part of you knows that real relationships require, grounded transparency and responsibility. Neptune can create soul recognition feelings, artistic inspiration, that level of deep compassion. And with the North Node in Pisces and Mercury in Pisces is bringing in more of that energy in regards to, okay, the way you perceive your reality based on your imagination, connecting it to compassion, connecting it to romanticizing life and all this other stuff. We're going to have to take you back into a certain area of your life for you to see what you've been missing. So that way you can actually realign with your path that requires you to surrender. And surrender is more so just you accepting something so that way you can evolve from it. And deeper questions such as, can love be both real and sacred at the same time, come up? Yes. That's actually love in itself. Now it's also having a conversation with Pluto and a sextile to Pluto, with Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto does not whisper at all either. Pluto exposes. Pluto rules transformation, power, shadow material, psychological truth, and the deep undercurrents that shape behavior. Now, the sextile between Pluto and Venus opens a doorway for profound transparency. It's the moment where the heart realizes it cannot stay shallow anymore. And under this type of influence, Venus sextile Pluto, attraction becomes magnetic and emotionally revealing. People may see through their own patterns around control, specifically attachment, jealousy, or vulnerability. This is also where relationships can move into a deeper territory where trust and emotional transparency matter more than appearance. This is why these past several months, so while the North Node is in Pisces, the collective in general is being guided. North Node is basically going towards your North Star, going towards purpose. And being in the sign of Pisces, it's, connected who you're supposed to be connected with, especially on a spiritual level. And sometimes one has to do quite a bit of digging up of what prevents you from really aligning with the truth of your spirituality or who you are beyond the physical. So many relationships are either going to move forward while others are going through a period of separation. because it's more so having to do with, okay, is this going to align with who you're becoming? Because if it's not, it can no longer continue. The energies would be too intense and too dense to even, allow oneself to take part in it. However, yes, you will have some that will do that. But obviously it's really not the best thing to do, not in no age of Aquarius. While Pluto is in Aquarius, you're talking about the electrical impulses of your nerves, and now you're, seeing a spike within the collective of certain autoimmune situations because you're entertaining or participating in energetic environments that are literally shocking the body, and it's not the best thing to do. So let me get one more here. The moon. Well, child. Speaking of shadow material. Hold up, but wait a minute now. Because Venus is also forming a trine to Lilith that's in Sagittarius. Lilith represents, I'm going to pull a Black Moon Lilith card because this moon card is here. Lilith represents the untamed instinctual self. Lilith is basically the part that refuses to shrink for approval. When we're talking about Lilith, we're talking about the themes of raw truth, autonomy, sexuality, independence, and the refusal to submit to systems that demand self-betrayal. And while the moon is in Sagittarius, that's making that energy even stronger. With Venus in the trine to Lilith, what's happening is it's putting the heart in a position to remember that love should not require abandoning the truth of your nature. I love the way Erin Lyons talks about the way she met her husband. And basically, long story short, she didn't hide anything about herself, being someone who was a channeler, connected to the cosmos, does light language and all these amazing things. And by her not hiding that, she was able to be a magnet for her husband, who is pretty similar to her. But had she hid that, you know what I'm saying, she would put herself in a position to not encounter such an amazing love story, So with Venus in the trine to Lilith and the heart remembering that love should not require abandoning the truth of your nature, attraction becomes connected to your authenticity rather than performance. So you become much more of a magnet to connect with someone that honors and is devoted basically to your authenticity and all that you are. So people may feel more confident expressing desire, more comfortable acknowledging their instincts, and less willing to maintain relationships that require self-suppression, which is another reason why certain relationships that are supposed to be will be, and those that aren't will not. To force that while these energies are present, you just Debo in your life at this point. So let's see what Shorty Low talking about. Shorty Lilith talking about the energies of Lilith. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. What's the vibe for Lilith? Oh, this is the Lilith deck and the Shira comes out. Man, Mother of the Gods, 20 with the Judgment number. Listen, and Saturn. And Saturn on the other side. This is not even crazy. Some exuberant shit. Okay, hold on. Let's look. Ashira, Mother of the Gods. I'm gonna stop playing. See, that's what that person get talking about God. This, yeah, God that you don't know about, but not knowing yourself. Keep playing. Ashira was the ancient divine feminine goddess, mother of the gods, whom the ancients connected to as the goddess of heaven. When her oracle card shows up in the message as it just had, consider matters involving the mother, home, and your family tree. Not everyone has a nurturing and healthy experience with maternal energy in their life, so if this applies, the shadows around this can feel difficult. Issues of fertility and children can arise. That's wild that the past life baby card came up too. It's a time to face what has been hiding beneath the surface. You can also be changing your home, renovating, or taking part in ancestral healing through a spiritual modality. Ashira was an ancient Semitic goddess who was the empress consort of the supreme god El and fertile mother of 70 gods. You better go ahead, honey. She she was revered alongside El, but ultimately her presence led to suppression when patriarchally based monotheism took hold. I'm telling you. It's when I tell you there are no coincidences, especially in this spiritual realm and utilizing divination tools, the way certain energies and entities decide to show up, especially when you are someone who is highly ranked. Oh, when I tell you they're going to try it, they're going to try it. But trying is an insult to doing it. You got the proper one to sit here with the foolishness, because you will be taking several seats. Okay? Several. Because that same lack of knowledge is what's going to have them themselves perishing. All right, now. Keep it up. Keep it up. Ashira is another example of how powerful, dark, feminine figures have been demonized by male-dominated religious patriarchy. She was considered evil, a false god that one should not worship for fear of punishment. Men were supposed to lead the church with women as subservient and silent. They even demonized Queen Jezebel. That's a whole nother topic too. Everybody love talking about this Jezebel spirit and all this other stuff, but I have no fucking idea what they're talking about. No idea what they're talking about. Because any woman then that actually sits there and protects her family is a Jezebel spirit, because that's exactly what she did. But the way she did it was seducing those that were coming for her clan, her territory, and took them out of there. That's the way she went about it. All right, now. Not only was she a goddess and deity, but Ashira was also the name of sacred ceremonial poles or trees used in ancient altars. It is theorized that they were used to worship and venerate the goddess. These Ashira poles were typically used in practices, but were later banned and demonized by the religious patriarchy. Of course it would have been. Nurture yourself, heal, and tap into the wisdom of the supreme goddess. And whenever you suppress the divine feminine, all you're doing is suppressing the energy of each one with the brain and the right side of their brain, not allowing them to be open, receptive, intuitive, and constantly operating from logic. Creation itself ain't even logical. Blasphemy is real. However, those of you that, you are awakened and enlightened, you already know the vibes. You're not going to sit there and allow yourself to be fooled. Foolish, actually. Let me get another one because we was connected with Lilith vibes. Let's see. This yellow is hitting. Libation, purify, cleanse, and release, which was 2666. Let me get one more. The nodes of the moon. Mind you, there are Lilith energies, like different signs that they're in, but not any of them are coming out right now. Let me get one more. There we go. Honor your individuality. And we have Leo. Wow. That's the same axis. 5 and 11, 5th house, 11th house. Allow your light to shine by honoring your individuality. And they're actually labeled with the correct numbers. 511. 511 is also, what is that, 7? Yeah, that's 7 of Pentacles, Saturn and Taurus. Okay. Let's go into these vibes. What numbers is these? 39, 32. Let's dive into 39, 32. Where is it? Right here. 39, 32. Mocked. Mocked. And 511 is what? Let's see. What does it say? It's given mocking the energy of source by considering it something separate from oneself. God has created. 511 signifies God has created. Yeah. Literally, you have the tools to be a creator and disregard what one comes from. I'll tell you, the ignorance is real. Cibation. Gratitude, Oracle of Delphi. Love the name, by the way. Oracle of Delphi. The love of the Oracle. Purify, cleanse, and release. Such as a bountiful freshwater stream feeding into the depths of a river, you are continuing to empower the gold of your sun as you move toward obtaining the Philosopher's Stone. First and foremost, if you are a Libra and it's at 29 degrees, if you have Libra placements at 29 degrees, that is actually connected to the Sabian symbol of the Philosopher's Stone. So, kudos to you. Without this natural process, the large bodies of water on Earth would completely dry up. When the Cibation card appears in a message, your inner transformation requires clean fuel to stay embodied in your light. Just when you feel you have moved on, difficult or painful memories of the past can appear during this part of the process. Yeah, that's been coming up quite a bit in this message. Now is the time to sit with these emotions and allow them to be released from your consciousness. Take time to practice self-care. Taking time to practice self-care, physically crying, or displaying your anger are all powerful ways to work through this phase. While emotional displays can be frightening at times, this is what is necessary to stay on your path toward ascension. Some of y'all need to put on some gloves and go hit a bag, okay? 15th century alchemist Sir George Ripley stated that libation is called a feeding of our dry matter with milk and meat. In other words, libation is the process of continuously feeding your alchemical vessel with pure material in order to continue embodying your light. Alchemy gets practical during this stage. This is where new habits, thought processes, and ways of being are implemented into your life. This is done by feeling negative emotions from past challenges and alchemizing them through release. Mind over matter is key. Mind over matter is key. It's not to say to utilize your brain in a way that you get into this level of bypassing or escaping from what matters. It's more so understanding that the mind, the brain, sits on top of the body, the matter, but it's not to do the work of the body. We talk about that quite a bit in most of these lives already. Now, libation phase, shadow work. Processing difficult memories is a powerful form of shadow work. This phase also can be completed with the help of tools such as talk therapy and energetic healing work, such as Reiki, pranic healing, meditation, and breath work. Those modalities mentioned, Reiki, pranic healing, meditation, or breath work, some of you are actual practitioners to fulfill this type of work and assist the collective, especially with the King of Wands that was showing up earlier when it comes to you channeling your creative force. Some of you have amazing, powerful hands. Use them wisely. Don't slap shit on nobody. Use it to heal. Take it from me. Feed your newly formed soul with restorative healing. Reflect and release the pain and shadows from the past. Then you have the nodes of the moon. Release, clear, and align. You got released twice. 12-5 is what? Nine of Wands, Moon in Sagittarius, which is where the moon is now. Divine. Let's see. Prepare yourself. Life changes are coming. When the nodes of the moon card appears, direction and shifts are headed your way. You are releasing limiting habits, old behaviors, and situations that have blocked your progress. Talents, ideas, and new opportunities will soon emerge, creating pleasure in your life. While change can bring discomfort, it's important to surrender. You are moving toward a more fulfilling direction that will light up your soul, connecting you with Source. It's time for you to awaken to the truth of who you are and align with your higher self. The north and south nodes of the moon are also called the lunar nodes, are extremely important points in astrology. The lunar nodes are not planets. They are where the moon crosses paths with the sun's ecliptic. As a result, they are always 180 degrees or opposite from one another. For example, an Aries north node will always have a Libra south node. You also can't have transformative solar or lunar eclipses without the north and south nodes of the moon. In Vedic astrology, they are called Rahu, north node, and Ketu, south node, a demon snake in Hindu mythology. The north and south nodes represent our karmic life direction. The south node indicates the talents you've mastered in a past life, your natural strengths, and comfort zone. The north node is your soul's direction and the talents that you must develop in this lifetime. It is where you will feel the most fulfilled. Most of us lean on our south node early in life, before we feel the sting of misalignment and our influence to make a change. So, a lot of times when you're sitting here feeling as though you're stuck, you're not allowing your light to shine, or honoring your individuality, as Black Moon, Lilith, and Leo and Aquarius are speaking to currently in this message, it may be the result that you are living in the South Node. And it's important to switch gears, going from the head to the tail. The head would be the North Node. And again, the North Node is your soul's direction, while the South Node indicates talents you've mastered in a past life, which makes you comfortable. What is also significant when you're looking at your chart is where you have your North Node and South Node in alignment to other planets. So you can get a much clearer perspective as to, your journey in life. And you're more than welcome to book your personal, because that's exactly what I assist you with. Now, now that we got all of that, let's go a little bit more into these messages with the final spread. Now, it's going to feel as though I'm in your business, but this is what you're here for. You came here for some insight. We're going to give you this. We're going to give you just that. We're going to put these cards right back in this deck to see if they come out. But we're going to get a good shuffle. A great shuffle. Those of you in here right now, do you know your North Node and your South Node? No? Okay. Check it out, darling. Check it out. What you think about that information, not so much what you think, but more so, does it intrigue you to actually look at that, where you're able to see more about, the choices you make in life? Yeah, okay. That's what's up. Listen, when astrology opened itself up to me, honestly, I've always been into it in this lifetime from when I can remember, third, fourth grade, around there. And as I matured, life has a way of making sure you don't forget what you came here to do. Situations will happen that'll have you going down a rabbit hole asking questions, and then lo and behold, there goes natal charts. Said, It came up a while back, and then when I was a trainer at Equinox, someone reminded me of it. I said, yo, I haven't looked at that in a minute. And from there, it's just been diving deeper into it and seeing how significant it is, and helping you to see yourself clearly, that when you go through situations where you would, decide to confide and trust in someone and have a conversation, and you're being open and vulnerable about things that are going on. And sometimes people will give you a response where it gives off that Five of Pentacles vibes, where not so much you regretting saying anything to them, but more so, what was the point? And what a natal chart does, it allows you to have that conversation with yourself, especially when it's just understanding the basics. When you look at a chart, the planets have to do with the planets and the luminaries and the objects, because obviously not everything in that chart is a planet. The sun and the moon are considered luminaries. while you have asteroids and the north nodes and things of that nature as objects. You also have stars in there too. But the luminaries and the planets and objects are more having to do with the personality. The sign that it's in is more so connected to the energy that you basically, the frequency of that persona or personality when it comes to that specific planet. The houses has to do with the area of your life that you show that the most. And the more you understand that, not so much where you show that the most, but the area of life that it can come up even more so. But understanding the house that it's in, and each house is ruled by a sign, which is also ruled by a planet, you begin to see, you know, the story that the planets, the signs, and the houses are telling amongst each other. And it's your story, which is also another reason why you always hear me tell you all, you're not here to be understood by anyone but yourself. And that's through knowing your cosmic blueprint, whether if it's your human design, whatever the case may be. I'd rather y'all know that than to sit here and have people tell you about yourself, and then somewhere in your body you can tell something's off. One thing about that natal chart that also help you recognize the truth of how, you know, you are connected to emotional security, which is your moon sign. Shout out to the peace dealer. He stays saying, I will never sit here and argue with somebody that doesn't know their moon sign. And that's a fact. Because if you don't know your moon sign, you obviously don't know what brings forth emotional security for you to understand that certain situations you don't have to put yourself into. Energy of the collective. Good Lord. Damn. That's how we gonna start this? I mean, well, we are. So you and your energy is the Three of Swords, heartache and loss, Saturn and Libra, obstacles and challenges you have gone through, especially in significant relationships that have to do with one-on-one partnerships. What about it though? Tell me more. Sounds empowering, yeah. The root chakra. The root chakra is ruled by Saturn. Wow. Okay. Because of the Three of Swords, here's what happens to the root chakra. The root chakra has to do with safety, stability, basic trust. Speaks to money, housing, nervous system security, consistency. Whatever these issues you've had in significant relationships, and why it's important to clear yourself from it, because that is actually the root of constant money anxiety, even when income exists. Starting things but never creating stability, job hopping, unstable routines. Now, also, when it comes to, here's another factor. For some of you, it's important to, when it comes to, let's say you're moving from job to job, see what's going on in your sixth house of work. Because if you're someone that has Uranus in the sixth house, that's the reason why you would be job hopping, because you're someone who's more so under that energy of entrepreneurship. You're not really built for a 9 to 5. That's just an example. But the way this message is coming through here, there's lessons in significant relationships that are connected to you or influence starting things but never creating stability, hoarding or overworking or panically saving, feeling on the edge, even in calm environments. A sign that whatever this past situation is, heartache and loss, is also indicating something of the past. It can show up in the body as chronic lower back tension, tight hips, or shallow breathing. This has also placed one into avoiding practical responsibilities such as taxes, bills, or scheduling. The core pattern here is that life feels unsafe, so everything becomes survival mode. Now, this is going to be one of those messages. Okay. All right. Right before the lunar eclipse was a significant moment for you, March 1st, because the eclipse was the 3rd. There could have been this heightened sense of certain inefficiencies of things that you've made a habit of based on society, culture, and it really wasn't something that was beneficial for you. It may have been brought up much strongly beginning of March, right before the lunar eclipse in Virgo. Let me pull one more card here. Fulfillment of wishes. Now, this is the Nine of Cups, 319. The issue with this is, for some of you, this is what's leading you to external substances. So there's something here in regards to a past situation that's still sitting in the body. Doing hip stretches, opening up the psoas, releasing energy from the hips is going to be very beneficial for you, because it's something about masking a situation and it leads you to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get a drink. That seems to be the resolution, or you're going to roll one instead of really getting the energy out of the body. Let's see what's grounding you. I had to close these blinds. Y'all give me 1 second. Ooh. Oh, okay. Let's see. What's grounding you? We're going to do one at a time. Then we're going to go to what is providing you with focus. What's grounding the collective? I just heard bringing forth a project to existence. Doing something that has to do with your creativity is grounding you. So this could have to do with some sort of artwork, especially with Jupiter and Pisces here. As far as the current situation. But then, see, for some of you some of you out here just rolling up every time you about to go deeper into whatever this energy is, instead of stretching, releasing the energy out of your body through stretching, body movement, somatic exercise. Because that there Empress, okay, that's connected to Venus, also connected to Taurus, then it's also connected to trees. Yeah. So that's what you're using to ground yourself. Do not abuse it, though. Use it in a more sacred way. Because what's in the goddess plant is also within your body. But it could be of assistance or a detriment to you. That's what's grounding you, but what's providing you with focus? You're saying that you use it to focus. Are you, though? Are you taking care of the things that you're supposed to be taking care of? Especially the way this current energy showed up? Some of you have to get more focus here. And we have the Strength card. Now, you can look at this so many different ways, though, because that's Leo energy, and Leo rules the heart. So if we're looking at this from a chakra perspective, it's the heart chakra. So overgiving to feel valued. How is this affecting collective focus here? What's that, 38? That's an 11. And it's 4, which we're just talking about the heart chakra. How is this providing with focus? You have the Emperor card that comes out. Interesting. Okay. So is it providing with focus, really? What is with the throat chakra? None of this shit was happening before this. Yo. It feels as though there's a fear of something not being in order, so there could be an over control of something, which then also suppresses creativity or someone's emotional expression. Let me clarify this with the tarot. Those are 3 major arcanas. And it's given the vibe of something that's hidden, though. Let me see. What is that? 384? God is with me, is what it says. Ethereal. Let me see which Proverbs come up. Hold on. Proverbs 30, verse 1. Huh. The man's oration of Ethereal to Ethereal and Ukal, the oracle. Interesting. Let me see. Because ain't none of this literal. Ain't none of it literal. So we gonna look. We gonna take a look. The teachings or reflections spoken by a man named Agar, son of Jacques, and he is addressing them to 2 listeners, Ethiel and Ukal. But the deeper meaning, when you look at the name in context, Ogar means to gather, collect, or assemble. Let me see. Someone who gathers wisdom from observation and reflection. And it's reminding me how often the cards from before said, get information, be open to healing information. So Proverbs 30, verse 1 is what we're looking at. Jacques speaks to the ideas of obedience or reverence. Then the text says the oracle, a serious message. So we got what? Hold up. gather reverence of a serious message of the God within you, and that you will prevail. Got it. Okay. All right. The limits of human knowledge, the danger of arrogance, the wisdom found in observing nature. Yo, I'm telling you. And that was the energy of the other card that showed up over here. Be open to healing information. Who is that? The medicine guardian. And you also had the earth guardian that showed up talking about stay rooted and grounded. You better use these herbs properly. Don't be abusing them. Talking about let's have a scythe. Duh. What's going on, Panthera Soul Fam? Welcome in. Shout out to the members of the channel. Okay. These are the reflections of a man who has wrestled with truth and now shares what he has learned with those who are listening. And I just told y'all going through the lessons of the fives, because that's been showing up, the Hierophant. Okay. And the Hierophant has to do with lineage of wisdom that moves across generations. I just heard MC, massive ceremonies. The test of the fives is you becoming a bridge between past and future. And through that, it helps you to preserve valuable knowledge while allowing evolution to occur. It's time for you to speak. Ooh. The question is, what traditions guide your understanding of reality, and which of them deserve to continue? Because not all of them are to move forward with you. Tell me more about this. Let's go here. Endless emanations of the priestess, goddess of 10,000 names. Shit, that's reminding me of Psalm 91. Whoa. Yeah. Psalm 91, verse 7. Though 1,000 fall at your side, though 10,000 are dying around you, those evils will not touch you. You know what? Oh gosh, it's going down. It is going down. What? We gonna have to move through this message here, piece by piece, because what? Isis, with many names, forms, associations, and expressions, is referred to as the goddess of 10,000 names. A name holds power. Some of you could be changing your name. Wait a minute. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. You don't see that coming, though. Because you do got what's grounding you, right? And your focus at this time. You have the Empress, the Strength card. and the Emperor at the crown of this. Big lion energy, big heart energy. But something about your name changing carries a major shift in power. However that is. That's literally the power couple, power dynamic, power. But this has to do with their divine feminine, divine masculine within. Don't misuse that power by not recognizing it, its name of it. The name holds power. What it is, it defines and energizes or limits. The names, faces, and roles that you play are just one part of your being, yet you exist beyond them, beloved initiate, as a vast being. You are currently realizing that you are not limited by previous identities you've held. Instead, you are becoming more of your whole self. Enjoy the uncovering of even more of you. Now, the roles you're being asked to move beyond might be mother, executive, healer, great person, strong person, always in control, daughter, teacher or guru, grandmother, and so on. There's nothing wrong with these roles, and you may still express part of your vast self through such roles, but you are at a significant point in your development where you are remembering that these are not who you are, but simply expressions of the eternal, endless self, uncontainable by any human description. This is on page 66, and that number came up earlier too. 2666 to be exact. It can be tricky to avoid getting stuck in roles that others prescribe for you or expect of you, and yet your self-definition will become wider, and your experience of yourself will be more real and fulfilling if you are open to discovering more of you beyond the person you have considered yourself to be up till now. Now, this oracle indicates that there is a spiritual name waiting for you on the inner planes. What is so significant about this name right now? Let me see. We're gonna go. Let's put you over here. We're gonna go here with it. Let's see. Tell me significance of this name. It'll transform and unveil your gifts, shape shift the frequency and vibration of your whole name is gonna shift everything. Let's see. This could also be what you're naming this pain to. The way you're naming this past situation. Be mindful of that, okay? And then you have, this came out here. Dream and journey. Going at the beat of your own drum there. Temple path, okay? Let's put this here. Take them through that. At this point. Current thoughts and perception. So we can look, what's this? Go the distance, yeah, tell me about it. Current thoughts and perception. Thoughts. Your thoughts have to do with the previous inability to get out of this situation or right now. Yeah. Current thoughts. The inability to get out of the mud. Where is that perception coming from? Let's see. Some of you are actually in a very uncomfortable situation. Oh, God. The uncomfortable situation is walking away from something that no longer serves you after so much time and energy, specifically emotions invested in it. And the sun being in Pisces right now is exposing that both of these cards are Pisces energy. So is this one. You have to pull back from something here. A belief, false narrative that connects to a belief. There's a false narrative about yourself that's connected to a belief system that is not yours. It's someone else's adopted belief, but they have no idea what that belief is because they don't know anything about it. Your belief is influenced by what you know. And another thing about the journey of the Hierophant is that you may grow up around certain traditions where you're unable to answer or ask certain questions just for the sake of keeping a tradition going. And for that reason, you were outcasted. Okay. Yeah. New beginning, the full card in reverse. There's always this fear there's a fear of starting something new. Is it that? Is it what that is? Is it what that is? Is that what it is? It's the avoidance and what it's connected to start something new. But it has to do with that belief system that is not yours. You're moving as a king or queen when you a whole emperor and empress out here. It's different. The kings and queens go to the emperor and the empress to, figure out how to handle their dominion. So it seems as though you're the one that people goes to, or you're transitioning into that, the one that people goes to, but there's always been this constant cycle of you going to people. They might know, they actually know the caliber of a person you are. Well, if it's not them physically, the person or the dynamic that you're aware of between you and another, it's more so an entity that is connected to them, that is aware of you and your power, your energy, and the test is to get through that so that way you can evolve. But there's just been a constant battle. So it's about you choosing your battles wisely. And one of those battles is the way you go about utilizing what it is you know, having faith in yourself, trusting what it is you know. Some of you have gone through a journey where in order to do so, you had to be uncomfortable asking certain questions or diving deep into certain things that you did question because whoever you asked initially wasn't giving you the fucking answer because of whatever it is that they felt towards you. But that's beside the point. Okay. Why is new beginning reverse? Well, why is new beginning reverse? The truth had to be you can't make this shit up. So I'm gonna have to get balanced out first. The truth wasn't me. Truth be told. Balance. What's at the bottom? Poise. Something was hidden from you that you found out, and you were very poised in the way you responded to the situation. There's some of you in here. People were actually shocked as to the way you responded. They expected you to react, though. And something didn't move forward because there was some sort of contract or a particular system that wasn't in order. And the truth had to be told before this new beginning can move forward, can actually commence. 11:14. That's That's Seven of Cups at that. In this deck, that's actually the card that says choose wisely. Well, truth be told, let me see. Are these upright? Show me that. Not this. Say less. This one. 814 right now too. 2014 is significant. 12 years ago. Huh. Wow. Okay. It's a long stretch. Jupiter returned. Your abundance returned. What belongs to you actually returns. Show me what this is. Balance, truth be told. Thank you. Truth be told. You got spring. Airplane in reverse. With constellation at the bottom of the deck. Wow. Okay. 913. What? Yo. That's 10 of Pentacles. What's yours has returned and is going to be expanded tenfold. Hold on. Because there's something about a certain... You were expected to go down a certain path that you didn't go, and that shifted everything. So what does this have to do with the current energy? Okay, so whoever this is right now, you really are one of them type of people. When I say shapeshifter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Here's what I'm going to say. That when you are utilizing external substances to other people, it may appear as though you're possibly overusing it, but what's happening is you have a tendency or capability of connecting to certain spirits that allows you to utilize your vision. Here we go. That allows you to utilize your vision and actually see through people in a way that they have no fucking idea what it is that you can see. You actually get more into your angelic and galactic state when you're utilizing these spirits. It's supposed to bring down your energy, but it actually heightens it. Okay. That's why I kept asking you when we was looking at this over here in regards to what's grounding you. And I kept saying, is it though? That's why. This is someone with high shaman abilities. A true shaman. El shaman. Okay. 1 second. Let's go over here. You're obviously not from here. That I already know that for sure. You're not from here. Let me see where you're from. Well, let me see what's actually... I'll fill it out when it comes out. Resilient, bold, and sassy. Yo, hold on. What? Inventor. Lyran. Shout out to my fellow Lyrans. Yeah, you would do some shit of that nature. Yep. That's the Lyran way to be. Yeah, you are a Lyran. Ooh. Okay. Oh, that's the information you was waiting on? You got a Garthens? Oh, that just made my heart feel some type of way. A Garthen, Arturian, 16. A's and Galactic Federation. Motherfuckers is here. 422. Wait. 422 is the Five of Pentacles. So each time there was a situation, what is that? Each time there was a situation that had to do, look at this, what is showing me right here. So let's see, 4. Each time there was a situation where you felt as though that you were left out in the cold, it was actually going through a process of recalibrating your root to bring forth your abundance for you to be aware of it. And they made sure that you were a target. Okay. All right. Venusian, Venus energy here. Romance, soulmates. Love is certainly part of your, being in divine union is certainly part of your purpose. So you may have the North Node also in the 8th, 7th, 5th. Leo, Libra. Pisces too, with that level of imagination. $16.22. Let's see. Dwelling on a clayey soil. What that mean? What is it? Come on. Let's see. Girgashites or Girgasites. One of the 7 Canaanite nations. Okay. Dense, heavy, easily molded, but also difficult for certain types of cultivation. Oh, you was, damn, you was really put through it, huh? Soil, because the soil type determined whether land was fertile, swampy, hardened, or workable. What type of test was you on in here? You know what? This is not going to resonate with everybody. Some of you are just in here listening to the plot at this point. Others of you, this your information. You got to focus literally. Proverbs 24:5. A wise man is strong and is better than a strong man, and a man of knowledge increases and strengthens his power. This is what we're going to do with this. We're going to really look at what that actually means. Comes up quite a bit. Let me go back to what I have. Because in most cases, instinctively, people associate strength with force, physical power, loudness, control, which is Emperor energy, the ability to dominate a situation. A wise man is strong, first line. A man of knowledge increases strength, second line. Is more so explaining that true strength grows from understanding. Saturn has been on your behind, okay? Now, that's what also showed up on the other side that we didn't look into from the Lilith deck. Knowledge, of course, refers to insight gained through experience, observation, and learning. So you're mastering the ways of handling the ego, experience gained through observation. A person who understands people can resolve conflicts better than someone who simply attempts to overpower others. A person who understands strategy wins battles more often than someone who relies only on strength. So there's two sides to this story that I'm being guided to reiterate, where some of you, you got to slow down on utilizing these external substances, and others of you, you are one who is an alchemist, shaman energy, where you are a master of ceremonies with these herbs and certain tinctures that you have to be more aware as to the way you're utilizing them and who you are around while you are doing so. Now, because you've constantly been around, especially with this verse here, around people who lack understanding, who often attempt to compensate with aggression or control, and they push harder because they do not see clearly. As you are one who's gaining wisdom, on the other hand, you tend to reduce the necessity for force. And when you understand the situation deeply, you know exactly where to apply your energy and where to restrain it better. But that's also part of the lessons that you've been going through. Let's get another one. And then we have vessel, structure. Voice, embodiment, structure, stillness, emanation, law is what I have vessel as. The S here is for structure. In this card in particular, where the divine is not abstract, it desires to be built. The priest, priestess form to what is infinite. Ritual is architecture. Daily structure equals sacred scaffolding. What you repeat becomes law. A law is a stabilized pattern of consciousness that governs the behavior of energy. So what you repeat becomes law in your reality. A stabilized pattern of consciousness that governs the behavior of energy, not human, the behavior of just energy. The command here is I design temples from time and intention. My structure is not control, it is freedom refined. Lovely. April. Clearly what this is saying with the fact that April was a reverse is reiterating, not yet, April. We'll see. But you did get what? 422. We looked at 422 because if we put 1622 into a 12-hour time, that's what we got, 422. Not yet, April. April what? Remove thyself, balance is key. Let's see. And you got Libra that has to do with balance. April 7th, because Libra is 7th house. April 7th, Aries season. What's going on? Let me see. Right before that, we have the Sun in Aries that squares Jupiter in Cancer. Wow. This could have to do with someone possibly working that inflated ego, overindulging or overextending oneself. Especially while you're receiving an opportunity. I heard your bounty, your gift, your boon. 4-8 though, which was actually an eclipse date for in 2025, as a matter of fact. The 8th, we got Mars in the sextile to Uranus. What does that even mean? So this is a supportive and liberating transit where your energy is gently stimulated and you can act on it. Okay, act on it. We have love is not attachment. Recalibration from the heart of transformation. 520, Leo, Scorpio. Wait, hold up. A major lesson here had to do with you being stripped away from what you thought love was, especially in connection to doing things for people, for then that to be considered a loving gesture or the reasons as to why people say they love you. Okay? Intelligence is simplifying the complex. 1717, follow the voice of your heart. And you already got follow the voice of your soul. And then you got, okay? And then Mercury. Mercury is in Pisces. The brain instructs the rest of the body and your thoughts. So what's coming from the non-linear realms that is instructing the rest of the body and thoughts of the collective is certainly coming from a specific constellation or the energies that have to do with certain networks outside of this world. But this is also what's within you. The world within you is expanding. Yes. But tell me more. Your Akasha. Hoo-wee. The library. Okay. Your archives. Hidden secrets, information looking beneath the surface. Oh, this reading is fun. It's my type of shit here. Tell me more. What's going on? What about it? I saw a ruby. Whoa. Who the fuck is this looking into your shit? Huh? Earth. 2004. 2007. You're receiving your just due from 2007? Extend oneself. We just said that. This is the vibe of where people know exactly who you are, but you're moving differently now. Okay. Coin toss. Taking a chance. Something unpredictable, but that's Uranus. For the past 8 years, has been a major change in the way you value yourself, which is allowing you to become more poised moving forward, which is also allowing you to truly connect to the truth of your identity with love and going to the edge with it, especially when it comes to releasing anything that you've been attached to that had a major imprint on your heart, because 744 is also connected to the lion. Then you have memories of love here that you've been suffering in silence about, and it's been messing with your gut instinct, which is also connected to your blossom in abundance. This all changed the moment that Jupiter went station direct to the sea. There goes the 7th. You can't make this shit up. This is giving L from Stranger Things. Every time you in the bath or something shows up. Let me see what that is. Salt baths. Make sure you're taking your salt baths. Cleansing your energy over the next 7 days. Cleanse your energy over the next 7 days with Psalm 91. So you can begin to smell the roses again. Cutting cords, yeah. That's a reminder. Make sure you're doing your cleansing baths. Yes, make sure you, once again, some of you, your dreams are going to show you certain people and spiders. In this scenario in particular, spiders, mice, or rats are showing you, if they show up in your dream state and you see someone you know, What that's indicating is that these type of people, when their energy has you in a hyper vigilant state, that also has you feeling trapped, especially with the web of a spider. But the thing is, the other thing about the spider, it's a cosmic weaver. So the fact that the library shows up, which is also connected to your akasha, you might have had some real nosy people when it came to who you are, and there are great consequences for doing so. People may have went on in life 7 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later, feeling as though that they got by, but year 21, shit hit the fan. Especially when you're getting in the way of someone who has a true divine mission on, on them, their name, their calling, okay? Because what I Kipper, the Kipper deck, okay? Literally the Kipper deck. See how this should be doing me sometimes? Bruh, can't get the words out. Shit just want to start Kipper. But there's also the Lenormand deck in here. Okay, before I even pull this card, you're a cosmic weaver. Some of you may have to rewatch Discovery of Witches. I am too. I'm going to rewatch it too because it's obviously another part of the message I have to relay to y'all. Also, though, you know what? So that way some of y'all don't be sitting out here looking for people too, okay? Because obviously over here we make sure that we handle everything that is going on internally, so that way there's minimal pointing of the fingers as to who did what and who but now, because sometimes these people have to play their role, when it comes to you recognizing the truth of who you are. Sometimes this shit is not fun. It never is, but only until you realize what's the whole gist of it anyway. Give me 1 second. Where did I... Is it on this side? Did I put it? Because in terms of a web, that's also connected to the body when it comes to your fascia, which is the connective tissue web that literally wraps around every muscle, organ, nerve bundle, and bone in the body. That's why it's important to activate the muscles before a workout. And not activating or warming up the muscles beforehand is basically attempting to put the muscle through work while it's hard wax and not melted. When you warm up the body, it allows the fascia to be melted wax and you can move better. So when we're looking at the fascia, if you were to look at it as a 3-dimensional spider web that runs from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head, it's basically a living communication network, and fascia carries tension, sensation, electrical signaling, hydration, and mechanical force across the entire body. So when you move one part of the body, the fascia distributes that information everywhere else. So when your body experiences fear, trauma. In this example, it's more so connected to fear because the root chakra showed up first. When the body experiences fear, trauma, shock, or chronic tension, the fascia contracts and thickens around those patterns, and it records them mechanically. And over time, the tissue becomes less fluid and more rigid. And that rigidity shapes posture, breathing, emotional reactivity, and even perception. A body with constricted fascia doesn't necessarily or just simply feel tight. It literally lives in a different internal atmosphere completely. That would be an example of where when people look at the energies of angels and demons and see it as something external, it's more so a system that is internal. So when someone is actually saying, that they're fighting their demons, what's actually happening is that when the fascia is chronically constricted around survival responses, the body remains locked in defensive states. So the nervous system stays close to fight, flight, or freeze. And fear becomes easier to trigger. Anger erupts faster. Jealousy and territorial instincts remain active. The mind then rationalizes these reactions, but the origin is often stored in tension in the body. And a body that cannot release stored tension will always keep producing the emotional states associated with that tension. So, you can say that demons appear when the fascia and nervous system remain in fragmentation. When angels appear is when the fascia and the nervous system move into integration. So once you learn the lesson, now you become more angelic, and now you have the power over the lower entities or lower chakras. This is what I'll be telling you. When you get to a point and you understand that your body, how intricate the body is as the altar. This is why me as a reader personally, or someone who's into divination, I don't give a fuck about what candle, what herb you got, because half of the shit that these weak people be using to go against people, I literally drink that, okay? Because it's great for the body. But at the same time, I'm highly aware of it, where you are, when you talk about being an extension or a representation of the elements, it's a whole different vibe. And you don't walk around here really with that notion of worried about who's attacking you or this other shit. I wish a motherfucker would. See how quickly you sit the fuck down. Go ahead. See how quick you go sit down somewhere. But the essence of utilizing, let's say, the notion of make sure you're taking your baths, because sometimes you get so disconnected from self or being an extension of these elements or source that you have to, see the visual of certain things certain times to remind yourself, okay, this is what you also are. Not given the external fact of that power. Now, speaking to what we was just talking about when it comes to spirits and herbs, now you see the whole different notion of it when it comes to, okay, when somebody is drinking some type of spirit and they're able to utilize it in a way that it's more coming from an alchemical or alchemist state, is because you understand, how to maneuver your emotions when you're under these certain substances, and being able to dictate what's too much or not going too far with it. Because the same way that people utilize psychedelics too, whatever. But anyway, let's go into the Kipper deck. Yeah. Let's see what shows up. That's still a Norman. Just gave you a major key, 333. You can move mountains now. That's 3333, 21. Utilizing what was just said, you'll see the way that you can actually control time. But that's a different topic. That's a whole different topic. Man, listen. Kipper. Kipper message. The storm. The storm was part of the journey. Anything else flipped over? 10. 610, what's that? That's the part of the journey was the storm at 610. That's 9 of Swords. Mars and Gemini. Wow. Kipper. And we was talking about, yeah, see, this is why you gotta be mindful of aware of conversations you're having with certain people, because in the beginning was the word, and that statement is not to be taken lightly. Some of you are not starting these new beginnings because who it is that you are conversing with. Mars is the energy of severance. It's also action, but it's clean action. It could also sever things. So Mars and Gemini, 9 of Swords. This is what some of you are experiencing, what one would call anxiety, because you're conversing with people who are not in alignment to the way you perceive reality. So you gotta be real mindful of that. That right there, Common, was an example of spiritual psychosis. And then you got the courthouse journey. See, I'm telling you. This is why it's important for you to reconnect with your heart, because this is the moment for you to receive. I just heard it gets darkest before dawn. Listen, you over here with Alba La Panthera. Alba literally means the break of dawn. So you're exactly where you're supposed to be. All that other extra shit, the darkness before it, and the darkness is something that you're now more aware as to, something that you can utilize. It's unused, untapped potential. But if you are moving from a state of fear about it, nah. 16 showing up again. The star, right back to the constellation, polar bear. We just gave you a leg up. That's very protective energy. Ain't nothing to fuck with right there. Now you're able to move the mountains. That has to do with familiar spirits that some of you may call family. Just because you're family doesn't mean you relate. There's some of them are just part of your lesson. Before you receive your just due, 21 into a 12-hour time frame, that's 9/16. That's 10 of Pentacles showing up again. And 10 of Pentacles has to do with generational wealth. What's for you is you know how that go. What's for you is for you. Can't be taken away from you. It may appear as though something is being delayed because of certain hassles in certain situations, but 7 is very significant. Something can be like that, 7. Yeah, just don't get distracted. Yo, what? One, two, look at my shoe. What movie is that from? Isn't that some type of thriller? You know what? Shout out to having a sun in the 5th house. This thing here gets quite the storytelling at some point. Texas could be significant. New life. Okay. All that. We only up to here. That's crazy. Your rising desires and primal necessities. Rising desires, because all of this is being removed, so you're aware your rising desires is to express yourself, throat chakra energy, being able to do so. Now, this could also have to be regaining your ability to say things differently without avoiding reactions, releasing the fear of being misunderstood, which then at some point cause you to say nothing. A lot of jaw clenching, neck tension, frequent throat. Yeah, see, that's what, okay. So your rising desires is to receive information that can actually assist you with releasing the fear of being misunderstood. We already did all of that already. You don't have to keep, over explaining yourself to justify yourself or editing yourself before life even hears you. Is a pattern with that. So release that by not looking to be understood by anyone but yourself. And your natal chart helps you with that. You see how we came full circle already. Tell me more about the primal desire, conflict, and defeat, Venus and Aquarius. Okay. See, I don't even sense that energy that was happening with the throat chakra earlier. Some of you really do have a powerful voice, and you have been, you're on the journey of the Hierophant, not in the sense of a male figure, but the Hierophant having more so to do. If you're the one that's supposed to change and modify everything that's been going on generation after generation after generation, especially when it comes to, occult information of the mysteries of life that some may have been afraid to disclose or speak on because of a lot of the past scenarios of persecution of it. 5-5 change. Okay. Let's see. Whoa. 6 of Cups in reverse. And this is in the area of your primal desire, your rising desires, is to release the past, okay, the desire to release talking about the past the way you do, that constantly puts you in a space of conflict and defeat. Okay. So stop. Not laughing at you, I'm so serious, just stop. Why are you doing that? You see, you think it's the way of closing out the cycle. I just heard regurgitating, but constantly replaying the scenario. You could be looking for closure from a situation of the past. Wait. Your desire is something, is new emotional renewal that connects you to someone new soulmate. Okay. That aligns with you completing the cycle. If that's the case, then whatever this is, a situation you're connected to of the past, that's what has to stop first. Or for some of you, you're neglecting a situation of the past that is actually the present moment that you desire. Listen. Tell me more. And there goes the Hierophant. You know what? For some of you, your perception of marriage is changing. It could be in an unconventional way that others may not agree with. That's what others think about what you're doing. Ain't none of your business. Let them do what they're gonna do. Because we're gonna talk whether you do or you don't. Now, this is actually, see, yeah. There's something from your past that is actually what you desire now, but you have to be honest with yourself because 215, Seven of Swords, that's Moon in Aquarius, but this is also the message of stop deceiving yourself. You have a desire that you're deceptive about towards yourself when it comes to it. Okay. Here and now. It's there. Okay. Another 5, by the way. You have to change your perception of what's in front of you here and now. What's behind it? Another, what's with the 5s, y'all? This, 1, 2, 3. There's 6 of them. 30. 30. What about March 30th? That is already Aries season. That's 2 of Wands. You know that once you move forward, you won't be able to turn back. But why would you have the desire to turn back? What's with that? What is but? You gotta go. You don't know how this chat work. Don't ever want to be married. That's you obviously new here. You gotta go that fast. Be coming up in here as if you talking to your bestie. Don't do that. Let's see. See, that's the way some of y'all gotta move with certain energies. It doesn't align. It doesn't align. Block it out. That's it. It gotta go. So you may have people around you that don't agree with the way or the decision you're about to make. Okay. You're the one that has to rest at night with your decisions, not them. And I'm pretty sure that's not something that's your first time hearing that. You know? So, with that being said, how do you feel emotionally? Let's see. Oh, you all up in the chakras. Wait. You know something's off that you can't articulate why. Well, I feel as though if you've been watching from the beginning of this message, I'm pretty sure you can articulate it well now. You just have to stop ignoring your intuition and regretting it later. Tell me more about this. What's going on? Stand your ground. There's that. Constant mental noise and no clarity, looking for answers from everyone else. Yeah, there's that. Yeah. How you feel emotionally is being strung along by other people's perception of what you're supposed to be doing instead of your own. You got to follow your own vision, beloved. That's all. That's all. What requires your attention and action at this time? What requires your attention? Moving on. Allow the universe to guide you, the you within you to guide you, your intuition, your inner vision, your inner wisdom to guide you as an extension of source towards positive movement forward, one step at a time as well. Choose wisely. There it goes. By the book. 7-Eleven. Asking you shall receive. Asking you shall receive. 7-Eleven has to do with wishes. And your first energy in regards to you and your energy had to do with fulfillment of wishes. And the fulfillment of a wish or a desire of yours has to do with part of the work, part of the step by step is you going through certain imbalances and matters of the heart with certain people that you thought that you could build a solid foundation with. The loss is not the end of your story. It's not even a loss at this point. It's more so you now releasing yourself. There you go, 2666. Releasing yourself from those things that no longer serve you, which is that 8 of Cups energy that showed up over here. Especially whatever had a very deep impression on you, which was blocking you from starting anew anyway. It was part of the lesson though. 3312 for you to rise in vibration, but this could also be an extension of your spine, extension of the spine. Let's see. That is her. Get out there. This could be moving from your hometown, especially with the spine and a lot having to do with the root, lower back tension. Your body's basically telling you, okay, you have to leave this space and go into the space that is actually connected to who you're becoming. Right. Where to direct your energy? Let's see. Where to direct your energy? Oh. Do you guys see this? Your hand is being held as you go towards this. Oh wow. Step by step, though, positive movement forward has to do with taking it step by step and not moving so quickly. Don't be so quick to speak to certain people either. That's what this is. There you go. That's a big ass part. That's 9. 9. Just about 8 or 9. Told you. Everything is a part of the message. That's a big part. That's Anubis right there. Now, 902. That's nine of Pentacles. Independence. Venus and Virgo. Let's look at 902. The thing is, if you somebody with Virgo placements and you are also a diviner, yeah, animals they're always a part of the message. Virgo is also connected to pets, so 902, let me see what you're talking about. That's 11. 902 says, in my body's big vai, big vai, big vai, big vai, big vai. Let me see. An exile who returned. An exile who returned. Yeah, see, you were outcasted. But that was part of your transformation because that's a big ass dog giving Anubis vibes. Hold on. What was that? Wait, go here. Into and now the thing is, okay, first and foremost, let's talk about Venus and Virgo anyway. Um, Venus and Virgo energy is the type of it expresses love through refinement and care. Venus again governs attraction, pleasure, values, beauty, and relational exchange. Virgo is an earth sign ruled by Mercury, so the archetype of discernment, observation, and improvement. So when Venus moves through Virgo, affection becomes precise. It pays attention to details other people overlook. Instead of declaring love loudly, it asks what actually supports the person it cares about. The Venus and Virgos, the way that they give love, they are of service with their love to you. Oh, baby. From the outside, people sometimes mistake this for criticism, though, because Virgo sees perfections clearly. So when Venus operates through that lens, the instinct is to refine what it loves so it can function better. So the intention is more so of improvement and not rejection. But the delivery from a Venus and Virgo can sound clinical if the emotional warmth is not communicated alongside the analysis, because Virgo has to do with analysis. So it's a love that is given through service and analysis at the same time. Now, that 902 with that dog over there. Let me see. Head of a family returning. You could be a pioneer. Someone, yeah, this has to do with someone doing something first. You're doing something in a way that others did not do it. There you go. In order to do so, you have to see the complete opposite ways of the way it has been done. Let's see. And then it said it was connected to in my bodies. Big Vai. Which is often translated along the lines of happy, fortunate, or possibly connected to divine favor. I love that because the message from yesterday had to do with being anointed, whenever that was. The day before yesterday had to do with being anointed, right? And then you had happy, happy that came out first, earlier within this reading. Let's see. Carrying memory back into a restored structure. This is beautiful. It was a rough journey. However, just as rough as it was, the glory that you're about to experience of it, a rose that was trapped. Look at this. Yeah, it's as of yesterday, 3310. It really started to shift. And what the good night. Good night. I'll see y'all. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Cause bruh, that's Anubis ass right there. And look at the whole Venus and Virgo 9 of the. Ay, Dios mío. Bueno. Yo, the guardian of the gates is awakened. Okay? Somebody done woke the fuck some of you, this is also why you're here too. You also have connections to um, assisting people to transport in within dimensions. But this doesn't have to be, people leaving their body here. It's about a multi-dimensional transmuter, basically. Yeah, pretty much. Death priests, priestesses, which help, which means helping people through transformation. I mean, for some of you, that could be literal too. That could be part of your purpose. Death doula. Okay. Ooh, all right. Especially with Anubis, because Anubis presides over embalming, the weighing of the heart. 902. Now, you'll be rolling. Ocean goddess know how I be. This should get technical over here, okay? Uh-huh. Wait, hold on. This is why I love doing this type of spread, because it tends to happen here. It tends to. That right there, though, that just made my whole evening. Remember we was talking about be ready to receive? All these treasures are coming back to you. This could be in the form of information or truth that's actually going to help you to regain access to your heart, and your heart being as light as a feather. That's instant manifestation every time. My battery's at 33%, 2110 on the timer. It's still in the energies of Venus and Virgo vibes. So let me see. Because Anubis governs the passage between worlds. The returning exiles move from displacement back into homeland. Something about where you were born and raised is not your original home, even though in this lifetime you consider it that. There's something about you going back to your ancestral bloodline home as the one that is the reactivator of it, the replenisher. Okay. Transition and restoration. Mm. Physical stories that have been documented and the imaginative landscape are now beginning to merge as one for you. Okay. Gratitude for the thumbs up, y'all. Much love. What must you let go of and let flow? Man. The mental conflict. Emotions connected to memories when it comes to significant one-on-one partnership. What about it? Exactly. Let me see. Let flow. Wow, because it actually helped you. Moon in Libra, Moon in Sagittarius. It actually assisted you to gain that spiritual strength, but also knowing to choose wisely as to the way you are of service as well. Some of you have this innate way that you just love to help and protect people, but now comes a time where you have to, slow it down a bit. 9-2 again showing up. Let me see. Let me align it with this. That way. Because this is giving a whole little story at this point. I better get into y'all gematria. Stop playing. Mind you, these two cards have to do with two sides of something. Libra is the scales. And then you have Sagittarius that has to do with the two alchemical cups of integration. Let go and let flow. Let the balance happen so the healing can go through its final process of integration. The dark is before dawn. the roughest patch before you're smooth sailing. Six of Swords, moving on. Because the Six of Swords after the Five of Swords, it's trusting the movement forward is best for you after a very deep period, for some of you, 5 years of conflict and defeat. Winning in life physically, but still something within you feeling not so much as the winner that you actually are. Look at this whole time, new life. Because I'm looking ahead of me as I'm talking most of the time, not looking at the spread. And then you have new life here, 39, 12, 3. And then soulmates. Oh, que lindo. Another 5, by the way. What's going on in May? What y'all over there doing? Let me know. What's the vibes? Especially Moon and Sagittarius, when it comes to love, your emotional security in love comes when you can be free to be you. Yeah. And one who seeks truth beyond immediate moment. Libra moons tend to seek peace between people, while Sagittarius moon seeks truth beyond the immediate moment. It's a mixture of understanding the bigger picture behind events, having the space to breathe, and that when life becomes too small, too repetitive, or too restricted, making sure that doesn't happen because it can make your emotional system restless, especially as a moon in Sagittarius. Some of you really could be a Libra moon, because part of the lesson, matter of fact, of a Libra moon is that true balance includes your own voice, not only the comfort of others. And there's been a whole lot of that throat chakra energy coming up. One of the strengths of Moon in Libra does have to do with emotional intelligence too. The ability to soothe environments, bring diplomacy into heated moments, helping other people feel heard. But that's part of what has to be let go of, where there's a constant of assisting others to feel heard, where you're not even hearing yourself most of the time, or not, allowing yourself to experience what you provide others with because of the diplomatic ways you got, honey. So right now, sources telling you, let go of that and embody a little bit more of this Moon in Sagittarius energy. Start telling the truth, because for some of y'all Moon in Libras, that's y'all so diplomatic that y'all cover up the truth in so many ways. Just tell the truth. Shit. Okay. You'll feel way better thereafter. Or maybe you are somebody with the Moon in Libra with Sagittarius placements, and you have to figure out a way of balancing that. Or the other way around, you may have Moon in Sag, and you got to figure out, how to be a little bit more. Well, see, that don't even feel comfortable for me to say as a messenger, because the way this Sagittarius energy fired up with this one here, let me tell you something. But here's the thing. Obviously, there's a time and place for it all, So there's a way to express the truth where you're not scorching the whole ground around it. Sometimes you got to express that truth as if you're carrying all y'all's frequency. Okay? Bueno. The outcome. Yo. Are these... Okay. Why is that in reverse? Okay. And then the nerve, you got action here. Oh, keep it to yourself. Your passion is being ignited. Keep it to yourself. Let it marinate. 919, yeah. Keep the new beginning within. While everything around you or eyes on you may perceive your reality as something that's ending, or you're going through a lot of, yes, going through changes, but endings. And there might be this energy around you with people who are celebrating that because you know how people can get. But let them do what they do. You stay in alignment to moving step by step, connecting with your passions, because what those energies are showing you, who is not to move forward with you, right? Let's see. Oh, Ace of Wands in reverse, Ace of Cups. This has to do with your emotional renewal. The less people know about you, who used to know of you, the smoother your transitions will be. And for some of you, you're entering a beautiful, part of your life for the remainder of your life where you're experiencing unconditional love. And to protect that as if you were a fortress of that love, while also feeling free in it too. Not for you. What's behind that? Heart chakra. Angel of Strength. Angel of Strength is moving situations away from you that are not for you to be handling anymore, carrying your heart space. Said, stop the shit. Know your value. And you got another door here? Okay, know your value, especially from the lessons. There goes the 9. And another one. Cleansing the subconscious memories so that way you can move forward in the most poised fashion ever. Not all 3. Yo, I ain't never see such a thing in a while over here. You got 3 out of the 4 aces. No, you do got, no, you didn't get the Ace of Swords yet. Yo. You see what I'm saying? Protect your growth as if it were your child or whatever it is, that protect it as if you were protecting yourself, or whatever you see as something that requires your protection. Let me wait. Hold up. This is amazing. Clarify Page of Wands. Not Page of Wands. Ace of Wands in reverse. One more. Oh, whoa. There goes that hermit energy. Stepping away without the energy of avoidance to gain clarity. Ace of Wands in reverse. Clarify. Let me see. Rejoice in celebration. Keep it to yourself. Ooh. Yeah. What's behind this? Keep your transformation to yourself. You hear me? 313. That's Friday the 13th. 19. Let me see. Let me look at something. Hold on. 313. 19th hour is what? That's Jupiter. Oh my God. Okay. It's an energy of keeping your growth to yourself, but at the same time, it's still going to be exposed anyway, because that's how much you're going to be expanding, especially after this transformation here. This whole reading is basically you have gone through it. You've gone through so many inevitable endings, but the darkest before dawn, you're seeing the sunrise already. Especially realigning with your soul's purpose that's connected to your north node and your sun sign. Yep, and there it goes. The Six of Swords, which has to do with the same energy you had here. Trusting the movement forward after a period of conflict and feeling defeated, although some of you are still in the winning period, but just, didn't feel complete. Now you will be, though. There goes the Page of Wands that I was saying earlier. You found your inspiration, the inner child. And there you go with this Six of Pentacles, material and spiritual prosperity that came out with happy earlier. The heart of it, and there goes the other one. You know what? Prosperity has begun. Congratulations. That's your story. I ain't pulling no more cards. That's it. I'm not touching this message no more. We're going to leave it right there to find where it's at. It's fine right where it is. Congratulations, honey. Okay. Congratulations. It's low-key lost for words right now. May this continue to find whomever it's supposed to find, because your journey was serious. You hear me? This is why I be telling y'all, I know the people that come over here on this channel is because you're really at the bridge. You're really on the bridge of a major transition in your life. Major. And you reach here at the point you're in the deepest state of solitude. For some of you, you may show up here while you're going through a period of isolation to then transcend that into you realizing that you're in a state of solitude. So that way, you can gain the clarity that will help you to navigate the journey moving forward and get to, seeing the purpose of your destiny, which is the Wheel card after the Hermit. What we'll put together is the journey of the major arcana. Yeah. But that's going to be in the member section. That's going to be in the member section. Might have a few clips here and there of it. We'll go live about it, obviously, but then it'll be in the member section. Yeah. The spiritual testing. Yeah, of course. Of the dark mysteries. Deepest state of solitude. All is well, beloved. Look at that. Triumph of the goddess. Card your sacred objects. That'd be fun. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Obsidian, black tourmaline. Balance it out with a selenite. And really use it on your hands. Feeling the energy through your hands. Activating your crystals. If you're someone who utilizes crystals. Yeah. You're seeing it clearly now. Yeah. Back home within yourself. Get you some rest. And I'll see you on the next live. Ciao.